Hello everybody, Scott Golden here with the Mid-South Wrestling Review Series for September 3rd, 1983. I have finished watching everything up through the end of 1983. Hope to have that stuff up over the holiday week here. That's the goal anyway. Don't know how successful that will be because this is a busy time of year for me and life has been crazy, going in multiple directions. Anyway, Skandor Akbar discusses the missing link here first. He basically says that the fans are dehumanizing the link, and he's tired of it. Why do people think that he's just a freak and not that big a deal? That's a pretty big thing to him. Missing link and Tim Horner up next. Obviously, Horner has been around for quite a while in the area, and it is very clear that he, in fact, has kind of been a big deal. Link actually sends himself into the turnbuckles with headbutts and the like. Horner does hit a few shots on him, followed by a crossbody for near fall. Link, though, uses the buckle in the ring and some cheating tactics along the way to get him the advantage that he wants, needs, desires, and all that good stuff. Manages to hit a power slam out of the corner, and Link manages to be pretty aggressive. We do see him use a get caught with a dropkick under the chin. Link manages to use the headbutt and also diving headbutt into the stomach, including but not limited to continuing to use the head as a weapon. Link was more of a talent in the the world class area than I think he ends up being here, although I haven't seen much of his stuff here. Anyway, gets a pin after diving headbutt. The Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Magnum TA. Road Warriors, I believe, coming from the AWA. Pretty sure on that at the time. Duggan and TA go right at Hawk and Animal. They have not, to my knowledge, maybe they came from Georgia, but anyway, they're not very long into the business. Mid-South being, I think, their first proper territory, and the Road Warriors get sent to the outside by Duggan and TA. TA, of course, a major force in wrestling over the next several years, probably about the next 3 or so, till his untimely accident in October of '86. Hawk and Animal do manage to, be successful in this area very quickly. They cut the ring off on Hawk. Hawk spends the majority of time in the ring. Actually, weird to see him take a Animal takes a fireman's carry pretty aggressively there from TA. Animal, though, with a cutoff, and you can easily see how young and kind of inexperienced they are. Interesting to see Jim Duggan in a leadership role. I mean, he's probably got the most experience of anyone in the ring at the point. Magnum TA not ready to lead people with just over a year's experience. And obviously, the Road Warriors can't lead anything because they don't have the experience to do it. So, interesting concept all the way around. Double clothesline by the Road Warriors on Duggan. They, I don't think, have found their finish or their niche yet, but they are very aggressive towards Duggan and TA. Remember, at this point, Warriors are new and, for the most part, are heels where they go. Their babyface run probably, I'd say, starts maybe 85, 86, something like that. But for the first couple of years, they get themselves over relatively quickly, but they're brought in predominantly as heels, and they move that around. Duggan hits a double clothesline on the team and hits the diving shoulder tackle, sending Hawk through the ropes. Animal and Duggan paired off pretty aggressively here, and Duggan manages a backdrop. But even that, going up for the backdrop, kind of a big deal. Hawk re-enters the ring through the top rope. Shoulder tackle by Duggan. Hawk on the top rope awkwardly and actually splashes his own partner. The referee calls for the bell because of the top rope usage, and the team of Duggan and his partner clear the ring. Boris Zukov, sorry, against the Junkyard Dog. Dog has not been as present over the last little while as one might assume he would be. He's kind of been out a little bit. Really basic match here. Bear hug by Zukov, and kind of Dog uses power, so certainly a styles clash. Match does not terribly wonderful. Again, forearms out of the corner by the dog. Dog manages to get a snapmare takeover, tries to keep things going to the easiest and best of his, condition. Dog manages to fire back a good bit. Irish whips into the other corner, and Zukov goes flying, or almost flying, into the corner pretty aggressively, assertively. And then we see the dog with the running clothesline, manages to catch the man under the chin, and then hits his thump power slam. 1, 2, 3, dog is your victor. Speaking of a dog, the Mad Dog, Buzz Sawyer, in a kind of steel cage type environment, challenging the Junkyard Dog. So the Mad Dog, coming in from what I believe is Georgia at the time, then comes in and wrestles Johnny Rich kind of as a primer for the changes that are coming in Mid-South. A lot of changes coming to Mid-South as we go into 84. 84 through 86, probably the best years for the promotion, again starting in, I believe, 77. We've covered the end of 81 through, and we will cover through, I think 85 is mostly available. 86 and 87, when they changed to UWF, I don't think is as available, but I'll be checking as we go through. Tommy Rich, though, staying on the arm of the Mad Dog, and it's kind of, it's awkward. Obviously, there's a difference in experience level. We see a fireman's carry by by the Mad Dog, and Rich stays on and is pretty aggressive, but at the same time, it's not the best of situations. Rich stays on the Mad Dog for a while. I don't know that this is the best use of a guy that you want to be one of your top heels, in the sense that he spends a good bit of time taking offense from a guy like Johnny Rich. Rich is someone that, if you listen to the commentary, Bill Watts seems pretty high on. It's not necessarily something that pans out completely, but him standing and brawling with Buzz Sawyer, who's new to the territory, doesn't really make sense to me. Drop kick under the chin by Rich, and again, Rich, maybe just because he's been in the territory for even a little while, a few months, has an advantage over Sawyer, and they want to test him anyway. Back, almost a vertical snap suplex, and Buzz Sawyer catches him falling. Speaking of falling, Sawyer misses the diving headbutt. Sawyer does hit a leapfrog and the leaping power slam that he's so well known for. 1, 2, 3 gets a victory, and the Mad Dog goes into kind of control. Ted DiBiase looking to regain control, wanting to eliminate his former teammate Jim Duggan here. He talks about facing Duggan next week, how Duggan has cost him money, Duggan's cost him fame, notoriety, and all of that good stuff. We then see King Kong Bundy and Art Cruz. Bundy, obviously, now representing Devastation Incorporated, kind of doing a bit of a trade agreement with World Class a little bit. Cruz has been an enhancement talent for several months here in Mid-South. Short knee by Bundy and some forearms along the way. Doesn't really amount to a heck of a good match, as it's kind of meant to be a squash, and Bundy complies with that demand, expectation, whatever you want to call it, pretty simply. Bundy sends his man into the top turnbuckle, and hits a couple of shots, and basically opens up pretty heavy on the blows. Back chop by Bundy. Bundy hits gets the body slam and other things. Bundy certainly gets fired back on, though, by his adversary a good bit. Cruz doesn't take that much of a backward step, and again, it's a match that I don't understand the length of. Not that a few minutes here and there is necessarily a bad thing. You want your enhancement talent to look good, but against a guy like Bundy, who has not, as of yet, lost heavily to the Dog, for example, I don't necessarily understand. Bundy does manage to hit the diving splash a bit, and then we go to Crusher Khrushchev, who later becomes, or Crusher Darso, I'm sorry, who later becomes, I believe, Crusher Khrushchev, and the Reachbone Man, Smash of Demolition, and all of that. This match, though, he's against George Weingroff. Weingroff, an enhancement guy who has been around the areas quite a bit, and Darso showing that he has, without a doubt, a lot of power. trying to find his way, and he's a new talent in the area pretty well over the last couple of weeks. Don't remember him being here much before. This may be his second appearance at most, but I think this might be his first appearance. But he uses power moves, gets caught under the chin though by Weingroff. Weingroff again, an enhancement guy, been around for a good bit of time. Fires up on Darso quite a bit, and some hard shots there. Darso manages to go into the center of the back with an elbow drop, among other things, and we see Darso trying to and successfully managing to hit body slams, among other things, almost kind of mocking the Oklahoma Stampede and running his man into both buckles along the way. Big hoist up and down goes Darso. Darso, not really wanting to waste time, gets the backbreaker that Mike Sharp used to use and gets the submission victory. Rip Rogers against Rick Rude. Rick Rude with a different spelling to his name, Rood. I don't think he changes to Rude, Rude, for a couple more years yet, but we see him kind of Rude, bouncing around. Maybe he changes within the year, but anyway. He looks much leaner, much thinner, not bulky by any stretch of the imagination. Good mat wrestling, and Rude gets the majority of the takeover stuff. Of course, Rude trained by, I believe, Eddie Sharkey, and, that whole Minnesota crew. Coming in at the same time as the Road Warriors. Maybe they all got booked together as a package deal, who knows. But anyway, Rude manages to stay on with headlocks and the like. Pretty simple stuff. Nothing, to write home about as far as this match, although Rude does show athletic ability, including a crossbody for a quick near fall in rather quick order. Rude manages a body slam and then takes his man over with the side headlock takeover. They come back to the side headlock anytime the match seems to begin to be falling apart, and Rude certainly shows athletic prowess. Maybe not the bulk and the showmanship yet, but that comes, as most would know, very quickly. He goes to Georgia. He goes to what later would be Crockett and various other areas, and does quite well for himself. But everybody has to start somewhere. Rogers manages a back suplex to break the headlock and does a fantastic job selling. Interesting for me because my knowledge of Rip Rogers mainly is from a couple of WCW appearances and his run in OVW as a trainer. Actually, one of my main regrets is not taking a road trip with a bunch of friends down to Ohio Valley in the early 2000s. Was invited to go along, didn't have the money at the time. Wish I would have, just to be able to sit, and not that I can wrestle, I did broadcasting, but just to be able to sit under Rip Rogers for a few days would have been awesome. Anyway, Rude with a monkey flip takeover. Rude is very aggressive throughout, and actually it's funny, Rip Rogers in this match actually backdrops himself in the sense that he barely touches Rude. Rude with a swinging neck breaker that would later become a Rude Awakening in a different form. And then we go to, from the Crockett Promotions area, Mike Davis and the One Man Gang. Super short match, less than 2 minutes. Obviously, the gang has gone on down to, at this point, I think what would be called Mid-Atlantic. Davis becomes something later, but gang really just kind of slamming his man around. Big power slam by the gang, and he looks awkward but gets a victory. And then there we close for the day. We'll be back with more right after this.